Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We've wrapped up our previous projects. Time to get started on something new. And I did post in the Facebook feed a picture of this big tall boy dresser. So it's a 6 drawer tall boy. It's in awesome condition. So I did give at least a couple of hours heads up for any of you anti-painters, that are looking, going, it's in good condition, don't paint it. You had a little bit of an opportunity to jump in there if you were working, didn't get a chance to see it. Sorry. It's what I do. Should have got it from the auction instead of me. But I do have people that freak out periodically that I'm painting stuff. So I did at one point have somebody once that picked something up from me and bought it before they rescued it from my paintbrush. But usually I get the hate mail later when they see the before and after. Maybe, I don't know. But again, in today's marketplace, a lot of people don't want tons of wood in their house. They want some wood pieces, maybe here and there, that are a natural wood. When I don't have big pieces taking up all of my living room, and God, I really need to get a studio sometime, have a living room back. You can see all of the pieces covered up under drop cloths sitting around in my living room. So truly, folks, I end up entertaining in this living room and have the big pieces we're peering around and the couches are all pushed back. So at some point it'd be nice to have a living room back. And I do have a couple of natural wood pieces. I have a really old antique blanket box that I use as a coffee table. It's still natural wood, old bread bowl in natural wood. So I have some antiques myself that I use, but they're mixed and matched in around and amongst a lot of the other pieces. Let me share with you a little bit of my vision for this piece, because I had a couple of thoughts and ideas of where I wanted to go with it, and that may shift as it sort of morphs. But my thinking right now is that I'm going to do a base coat, a two-tone base coat in black. So I'm going to be using DIY paint primarily. From Debbie's Design Diary, clay-based paint, one of my faves, especially because I envision doing some blending on this, and because I'm going to be staggering the days that I'm able to work on it, I can use water to reactivate the clay-based paint, allowing me to then blend even with some of the base coat. But today I'm going to be starting with two colors, with black, little black dress, and kind of a dark, kind of rich blue. It's not quite a navy. It's called Bohemian blue. I will show them to you as I get them out. Black is going to look black, but I'll show you the Bohemian blue. I really like the combination of the two together. And one of the reasons that I lost the connection there for a second, but one of the reasons that I'm looking to have a lot of the edging in those darker tones is because I was looking at adding some gold leaf in later. All of the hardware for this piece, which I am going to use again, it's in perfect shape, fits all the holes nicely, and it really suits the piece. So there's the big, let me grab them. Oh, the big bag of them. So the hardware itself is kind of what you would expect from this piece. So the typical handles, which again, if I do the gold leaf thing, then I will make these kind of a brighter gold, not a bright gold, but take off a lot of the tarnish. Usually I'm using some Barkeeper's Friend for that. But in addition to those pieces, let me see if I can dig one of them out. They're kind of buried down here in my findings bag, and it's just a mess of them. There's also these small little metal medallions that were sitting right in the middle of the drawer. So you have the two drawer pulls on each drawer, and then this little bit of gold. So if I end up going the gold leaf route, then I'm definitely going to want the hardware to be a little bit more gold in keeping with that, and I may gold leaf some of the hardware too. Who knows? Just depending upon colors and color match. But I wasn't looking at using the sheets in their entirety. They come in big square sheets, and usually you'll see kind of swaths of the gold leaf going across the dressers, and that really isn't what my vision was. What I had thought to do was to be able to do a little bit of kind of a crackle so that the gold would be more of a veining going through, that it looked like maybe some of the color had crackled and is revealing gold that was beneath it. And I had been thinking of using one of the IOD kind of the design stamps, and this is the, trying to see if you can see that in the light. You can see kind of the crackles. In my head, these were bigger crackles. When I pulled it out, because I haven't used this yet, they were smaller crackles, and I'm not sure that's going to work for me. But I thought having a lot of the outside of the dresser in the darker colors, the gold leaf would really show up. So some of that gold veining would really show up nicely. And then I could blend in some other lighter colors. And I had kind of pulled a little bit of mint chip from DIY, which I love, which is kind of that minty, light minty green. But I have some of their other blues, the old 57 and the mermaid tail, so a little bit more in some of the turquoises. I also had pulled the possibility that I might go into a little bit of Monet's green as well. So we'll see, because the next video will be adding some of those colors on top of the base and blending those in. So the type and amount of gold leaf may change. And I'm thinking that that crackle piece, as much as I know it's on a big square, I was really looking at it kind of drifting from the corners and some of the edging in just little bits and pieces. May still work, but I may end up just having to take a paintbrush and do a little bit of veining instead, and then lay the gold leaf over top and have it just kind of reveal. I mean, you'll get a chance to see the gold leaf one way or the other. It's going on there somehow. But it may shift a little bit in terms of what it ends up looking like, and whether or not I want to do more leaves perhaps drifting up. We'll see. You guys, maybe you'll get to vote. What do you want to see in terms of some of the shape and some of the design? But today, I'm just looking at getting the start on the base coat and getting those two colors on there all over the piece, and then we can get started. Now, I am going to be painting with the drawers in, because ultimately when I start getting into the blending in the next stage, I want to be able to create that uniformity. I want the pattern to kind of flow in ways that make sense for the piece. There's times that I take the drawers out, times that I don't. Sometimes it's because of the nature of the drawers. These ones are sitting in flush, so they're not sitting over top of the lips. They go right in which case I'll paint them in there, and then when the piece is done, I'll take the drawers out and I'll paint all the edging in colors that make sense relative to how the drawer turned out. So it does mean that if this is kind of the top edge here is two-toned, maybe there's lighter blues up here and darker out toward the edges, I'll blend those top edges too. But I'll do that after the piece. It may mean sanding down a little bit to even it out and then hand painting those afterward. But it means that at least when the drawers are in, that I get the overall look and effect that I'm going for. Okay, so we've got our two colors, and I know that you can't see the whole piece, but I'm going to be starting with a little black dress here at a lot of my edges. And I am going to work with some of the natural flow of the piece. So I am going to have black coming kind of all around the outside edge up here, and then all around that edging there. And then having all of the darker blue, the Bohemian blue, kind of going in around that. And I'll do a little bit of blending with it. So I do have my water bottle with me to be able to fit some of that in. I've got too many paints sitting around here. And I'm just using the Paint Pixie Dusty brush for this because I'm looking at just kind of getting it on, getting some coverage. I want it to be fairly smooth, but I'm not agonizing over it. Obviously, I'm not going to get full coverage of kind of any paint with a first coat, but really when we're looking at the DIY, I'm getting a pretty decent coverage already. These raised drawer fronts, this isn't just a serpentine, right? So it's not just totally smooth kind of flowing across here. These have kind of raised square panels right in front. And they are giving me a little bit of a design kind of headache here in terms of how I'm applying gold leaf and exactly where I'm going with the color that I'll be adding on later, because I don't necessarily want to just have color in the raised panels and make it look very geometric. So I may end up having to, oops, wrong color entirely, ignore them and act like they're not even there, perhaps, so that you kind of make them disappear a little bit. It means that they're like a double or 2.5 times thickness in terms of the wood in that area. So the screws holding the hardware in are particularly long, right? So sorry about my back and my body. There's no way that I can get the camera so that you can see bits and pieces here, but as I go down, maybe we can tilt you down a little bit here. Whoops, maybe that was a little too much. We're getting the hang of it here, getting a little better with the whole camera. But you can see how quickly this goes on, and already, just, I love seeing kind of the first color go on, and you already start to see a bit of transformation taking place. One, this colored wood with black looks awesome, doesn't it? So I have done a number of pieces where I have done kind of just black edging and then drawer fronts. But these, because they sit flush, you don't get that black banding in between, and you wouldn't get that nice contrasty look that I've gotten from some of the other pieces in the past that I've done that with, where I have left the wood natural, I've refinished the wood and kind of sold those out. Although I will say that I had one dresser that I had done where I'd actually left some of the natural wood. I had sanded it down, I'd oiled it up. It was really quite beautiful, and it was heavily patterned. You know how you get some of the wood where just the natural graining is stunning. So kind of like the tiger look. I had all that, and I had gone to the effort of not painting it for once, left it natural, had some of the black to contrast. In my mind, it was gorgeous. And then the person that came out to potentially buy it wanted to buy it and then pay me to paint it white. They were not happy when I said no. I went, look, if you buy it, it would be yours, and then you could do whatever you want with it, but I don't want to hear about it. Don't send me pictures of it painted white. I don't want to see it, and I'm not going to paint it white. And she was quite distressed because she was, no, I'll pay you to paint it white. You can give me a quote. I'm going, yeah, not the point. I already refinished it how I wanted, and I'm not looking to refinish it again, right? I'm pretty darn sure it's going to sell as it is, and if you're going to buy it as it is, then I'm happy to sell it to you, but I'm not going to repaint it how you want. And I'm not sure that everybody is always used to saying, it's not about the money, right? And in this case, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about getting paid for my work. And it it would have broken my heart. I loved how it looked and how it turned out. I'm going, okay, more money isn't worth the heartbreak that would go with doing this. So no. And I do periodically as well get people that will contact me saying, oh, I absolutely love this piece and I'm all excited and delighted to talk to them about it. And then they go, but I need a better price for it because I'm going to have to repaint it. And I'm like, okay, now you took all the joy out of the conversation for me. And secondly, you're paying for my refinishing. And if you have to refinish it, then sorry, right? I'm not charging you less for it, but it's funny sometimes what people do. I know I used to own one of Canada's largest online bead stores. We didn't have bricks and mortar. We were just online. But I started out just selling jewelry. So I don't know if there's anybody here that's a jewelry designer. And I've switched colors now. I've gone into the Bohemian blue, which you're going to see on camera. It just looks dark. But it's not a true navy. It's got kind of this richness and this Bohemian kind of look to it, so that there is a distinction between it and the black. And I'm really just kind of getting it on there around where the black is. We're going to be able to do, I'm trying to think when I'll be able to get the next video up, which probably will be tomorrow. Okay, I don't think that you see the contrast. I think that's showing up for you, but I think that you'll see that. So tomorrow we'll start doing some of the blending. But yeah, so came into the booth. She said, oh, I love this bracelet. And I said, well, perfect. So again, excited. There's going to be a sale. Woohoo. And she said, but how much would you charge me for all of the pieces? And I said, well, what do you mean the pieces? Like it's all put together. And she goes, no, no, no. I want you to cut it apart and then just sell me the pieces. And I go, well, that would still be the price of the bracelet. And she said, well, no, because I don't want to pay for it assembled. I go, but it already is assembled. And she's going, yeah, but I want to assemble it myself. I want to say that I made it. And I'm going, okay, so in that case, it actually would cost you more. And she looked at me stunned and she goes, no, it would be less. And I said, no, it would be more because now you're also paying for my disassembly. But it's already assembled, so you're paying for the assembly part of that. I tell you, again, not a happy customer leaving my booth there, but kind of, no, you're paying for the bracelet as it is, so maybe I shouldn't get so attached to some of my work. But those of you that, you know, you're painters or you make wreaths or, you know, you do art or craft of any kind, and if you've ever gone to booths and you've sold work, I mean, you know the pain, right? You know the number of conversations and people walking past saying, oh, I could do that, and oh, that's not a big deal, and you just sitting there smiling at them, smiling away because it's not worth the conversation, and ultimately they're not going to be your customer, right? They're not somebody that has the appreciation for perhaps the time and the effort and the work that goes into it. I know, you know, from a furniture painting perspective, again, I price my furniture based on certainly my cost, the cost of the piece, because I had to go out and buy this. So the cost of the piece, the cost of the materials, both, you know, in this instance, obviously paint, but it's also going to be the wax or the sealer that I use. It's also going to be, in this case, some gold leaf and the sizing that I'm using. So all those things add the cost, but I also keep track of the hours that it takes. So how many hours? What's a reasonable fee per hour for my time? And then looking at that, would the market that I'm in, so this particular area, because your market could be completely different than mine. You might be in maybe a much more affluent area than I am, or one that's not as affluent as mine. So what's your market going to pay? And that's pretty much how you look at pricing your pieces, right? Makes sense. But people that again, would look at, let me try and tilt you up a little bit here so we can work on the top half together. People that would look at wanting to get a decent hourly rate from whatever work they do are not always inclined to pay craftspeople a decent hourly rate for their time. And it ends up often being a double standard. And I know that this is typical of a lot of people in arts and crafts industries in getting recognized and creating some value for the work that they do, having people see the value in it, and ultimately getting a fair and decent return on the investment of time and expertise. And there's also a pricing model that goes with the every piece that you do. I don't charge people for my learning curve. So if I'm doing a completely brand new technique, so something that I've never done before and I'm screwing it up, right? It took me multiple tries to do it, to get it right. I don't charge per hour for that. But there's a small percentage in every piece that I do that my learning, my skill, my talent gets priced out at that, right? So that gets into it. So if, because I've done 100 pieces or 1,000 pieces, that I'm able to be more efficient in it, then I still might add a little bit of a premium. It's kind of like, okay, it only took me an hour to do that. Not a big deal. But all of the years, the past, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, however long you've been doing this, counts for something, right? That knowledge, that expertise, that skill, that counts. And you would have that in any knowledge industry. Organizations will charge a premium for knowledge and skill, talent that they have that competitors do not have. And you should be justified in doing the same, despite the fact that you're involved in a craft industry, right? It's impossible for me to paint without getting covered in the paint. I see a lot of painters that are dressed in nice clothes, and I don't know how they do it. Even when I'm trying not to be messy, I get messy. So this is good so far because I've managed to keep it to my hands. But usually all of my clothes are covered, and so you're always going to see me wearing big old baggy jeans. These jeans now, they don't even fit me now that I've lost some weight. 35 pounds makes a big difference in the size of your clothes. I can pull these babies on and off without undoing the buttons, but they're covered in paint already. So I'm still living in these jeans because it means at least I'm keeping the paint to these ones. And one of these days I'm just going to take a brush to them and start painting designs on them and make them deliberately painted. So I'm just going to do exactly this same thing to both sides and to the top. So I'm going to do black around all the edges, and I'm going to put that Bohemian blue in the center. It's going to be exactly the same as this. And then tomorrow, tomorrow, I always have to balance out what the other job requires and where I'm at, and if I'm in a suit or if I get to wear my big baggy jeans. But I think tomorrow we'll have a chance to be able to get back together, and we'll start doing some blending. So we'll talk a little bit tomorrow then about how to be able to do that, how to be able to use water, how to be able to get some of the blending without muddying up the colors and just ending up with one kind of uniform color. So we'll do a little bit of the blending, and we'll see how I'm liking it. Really, I'm kind of thinking that's the way that I'm going, but we have to see. And what I'm not going to do is to treat each drawer individually. So I think that what I'll try and do is do kind of blending up here in the middle, and then down here in the middle, the sides, which, you know, will be the same because they've got this same divider rail across them, right? And so we'll treat them kind of the same as well, so that we're creating a little bit more uniformity from one side to the front to the other side in terms of the overall look. So we'll do the blending more toward the middle, and we'll work some of the black, and that's how we get our second coat on, is all doing the same piece. So the centers are actually going to have more like 3 or 4 coats in there, and then we'll let that dry, and we'll see what we're going to do with that gold leaf. It's happening. The gold leaf is happening. I'm just not sure about the way it's going to happen or how it's going to look. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how many colors we end up putting on. There's going to be at least 2 additional colors. So we'll still be doing the black and the Bohemian blue tomorrow. There's going to be at least 2 more colors going on. Which ones? I don't know. I think mint chip for sure. Probably one of the turquoises. I may want to add a little bit of green, but we may do a little bit of palette knife action on that one. We'll see. So I kind of have an idea, but it's never absolute. You know, some of these things want to go in their own direction. So Linda, you're going to have to decide as we go. Is this a Sophie or is this an Oscar? I don't know yet. So it could go either way. It could kind of morph. It's kind of a big masculine piece. If I was doing it more in some pinks and corals, it could have taken on more of a feminine tone. But adding in some of the lighter blues may take it that direction. Right now, looking like an Oscar, yeah? Linda likes to name my pieces, and we're just undecided in the name direction that she wanted to go on this one. So the jury's out. Y'all could vote as we go which way you want it to go. Right now, looking pretty masculine, I think. But you know, some of those lighter blues and the gold could take it a different direction. We'll see. So stay tuned. Hope you can join me tomorrow. I would love to be able to tell you guys a schedule of when I'm going live and what time, and you know, try and do it maybe when you're not working. But really, it's at this stage, it's all about me. When am I around? When am I not working? And fitting it in. So at least you can catch it on the replay. Definitely pop in some comments at any time that you miss any of the videos and you're wondering if there's been some that you haven't missed and it's too much scrolling down into the Facebook feed. Pop on over to YouTube. I am uploading those all to a channel, so Queen Bee Creations. I think there's a number of us with the same name, but look for the big multicolored paint splatter logo and you'll be able to find me. And just subscribe, so then you're always notified when a new one goes up. And because it's a brand new channel, if you're popping over there, like the videos. All right, you could do a thumbs down if you want to, but thumbs up would be awesome. And, you know, subscribe so that kind of keeps me up a little bit in the loop. And we'll see what we can do about at least keeping YouTube up to date as well, because I know sometimes that it gets a little bit onerous to work your way back through the feeds or scrolling down through Facebook sometimes to catch what you've missed. So always we'll have the latest videos also posted on YouTube for you. So all the videos are in one place for you. You can hit the video section of YouTube of Facebook as well on the Queen Bee site. And if you're ever looking to see what pieces are currently available, which ones have sold, what's still in inventory, you can always pop over to queenbeecreations1.com, which is the website. And in the shop always has the most recent pieces and anything that's currently available and all the details about it. If you're interested, send me a quick email and we'll go from there. But that's as well an easy way to be able to tell what sold, what hasn't sold. Have a great day. Hope you guys are having an awesome time. Weather here is at least looking pretty decent. We really haven't had much of a winter so far. So I think like I should be knocking on wood. Fingers crossed. It's been kind to us so far. But go out, have some fun, have an awesome time. Thanks.